The Bible prophesies a time when human beings will use a number in order to buy and sell. How far off is such a system? Do you use numbers to buy and sell right now? Today we will discuss the question, Mark of the Beast, how close? It's time for another exciting edition of Politics and Religion.
Look, there are two things I don't discuss, politics and religion.
In my house, we don't talk about politics and we don't talk about religion.
I'll talk to you about anything except politics and religion.
I never talk about politics and religion.
Politics determines how we'll live here on earth. Religion determines how we'll live forever. I'm Irvin Baxter. I think it's time we talk about it. Well, there is a subject in Bible prophecy that always raises interest to another level, and that's the subject of the mark of the beast. Now, in case you're not familiar with that term, I think most people are, but believe it or not, I meet people quite often. I'll say, are you familiar with 666? Are you familiar with Mark of the Beast? And they'll look at me with this blank stare as if to say, I don't know what you're talking about. Well, just in case you're not familiar, the prophecy is found in Revelation chapter number 13, verse number 15 through 18. Now, I want to make sure all of us understand what actually is taking place in this 13th chapter of Revelation. The entire chapter is devoted to the one world government of the Antichrist, the one world religion of the false prophet, and the economic system of the coming one world government. The first 8 verses are devoted to the one world government and the leader of that one world government, a man called the Beast or the Antichrist. And then verses 11 through 14 are devoted to the false prophet, a religious leader that will head the one world religious system, which will be in alliance with the one world government. And then verses 15 through 18 deal with the one world economy, how we will control people economically. Now, the dollar, money answereth all things. The love of money is the root of all evil. So money controls people. If you can't eat, you get desperate real fast. Consequently, the last portion, the one world economy, will be the means of the one world government and the one world religion to force everybody into compliance, allegiance to the one world government, and also to worship according to the guidelines of the one world religion. Now, one more time, let me summarize here. The Bible prophesies a one world government, a one world religion, and a one world economy. It's really interesting that Mikhail Gorbachev in his book Perestroika said that there are 3 root causes for war on earth: political conflicts, religious conflicts, and economic conflicts. So he theorized that if we had a one world government, a one world religion, however loosely configured that might be, and a one world economic system, that we could in fact have peace on earth. Well, we're working toward that right now. This is not some kind of a far-flung, wild idea of Mikhail Gorbachev. This is the thinking that's dominating the world right now. The overall plan is called global governance. The process is called globalization. You are participating in it right now, whether willingly or unwillingly, because our government is pledged to globalization and has been for many, many years. It is a belief at the highest levels of government that the only way to have peace on earth is to get rid of points of conflict, in particular, nationhood. If we had no nations, the nations would not fight each other. So they say it's time for global governance instead of the nation-state structure of our world. And that's what the process of globalization is driving toward. It's driving toward the melting of all national boundaries and for us to have a world without borders. Well, in addition to that, others are saying, well, the real cause of war on earth is religious conflicts. Therefore, if we could, through a new way of thinking called interfaithism, if we could show that all religions are equally valid in their own way and that all religions basically share the same core values, love your neighbor as yourself and love God with all your heart, if we could show that that is true and then maybe even convince the world that really we're all worshiping the same God, no matter what we name him, whether it's Allah or Jesus or Jehovah or Brahma or whatever else, any other God you may think of. And there's hundreds, even thousands of them that people worship around the globe. But whoever you worship, the theory is that we really all worship the same God, even though we may call him by different names. Now, notice I said the theory. It's simply not true. But the theory is that we all worship the same God. And therefore, if we could have an agreement on interfaithism, that we could say, all right, let's join together, let's emphasize good works, let's emphasize goodwill toward our fellow man, and let's learn to share moral values. Even if we don't put a name on the God that we worship, let's share values. And thus we can have interfaithism. Well, these are some of the things that are going on today. And all of this is embodied in Revelation chapter number 13. I want to read for you the passage that talks about this coming system where everyone will have to have a number or a mark in order to participate in the economy. It will be the way of coercing conformity, because if you will not pledge allegiance to the one world government and the one world religion, they're not going to validate your number. So consequently, you won't be able to buy things at the grocery store. You will not be able to get your car fixed. You will not be able to hold a job. You are going to be put out there in economic no man's land. Here's the prophecy so you can read it for yourself. And this, by the way, was given to us 2,000 years ago, written about 95, 96 AD, Revelation chapter number 13, verse number 15. And speaking of the false prophet, the religious leader of the one world religion of the end time, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he or except he that had the mark or the name of the beast, speaking of the name of the Antichrist, or the number of his name. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666, or 666. Now, all of you are familiar with it. You've seen rock groups that took on the number 666. There was a preacher going around having all of his people tattooed with the number 666. I mean, it's been used in all kinds of ways. However, the scripture says, here is wisdom, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, or calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. So this is the prophecy. A time coming when you'll have to have a mark or a number without which you cannot buy or sell. Now, I want to ask you some questions today. When you're calling in, I'd like for you, if you're willing to, you won't be pressured to do this, but if you're willing to, do you have your check direct deposited right now? In other words, do you actually get a physical check, or do you merely have your money deposited to your account number? And do you shop using your credit card or your debit card? Do you order things online using your number? These are some of the questions that I'd like for us to find out today. And also, do you have to have identification to enter your workplace? What kind of security is implemented at your particular workplace or perhaps in your department? Now, these are important questions because the Bible prophesies a time when you will have to have a number in order to function in society. And that's what we want to talk about today. Now, first of all, there's an article from Salt Lake City. It says Salt Lake City goes wallet free with ISIS. And a little bit of the article, it says, operator consortium ISIS has selected Salt Lake City as its flagship deployment to show the rest of the USA what NFC can do for them. The plan will see Salt Lake City's public transport system accepting pay by wave from a mobile phone by the middle of next year. Now, are you ready for this? Almost everyone has a mobile phone, right? But notice now that they're going to have these mobile phones so you can get a Coke out of the Coke machine, you can buy a candy bar, you can pay for your dinner at the restaurant. Whatever you want to do, you just wave your phone. And, of course, it will pick up the signal from your phone. It will know what your account is. It'll know the amount of the purchase, and bingo, done. So if you forget your wallet, it's no problem. I'm sure you'll have your driver's license coded right into your telephone so that if you get stopped by the police for some reason, all he'd have to do is you could wave your phone over his little computer and it would come up with your driver's license with your picture, all of your pertinent information. Really, there won't be much of a need for money anymore. Now, ISIS was set up less than 6 months ago, a consortium of U.S. network operators, including AT&T, you probably recognize them, T-Mobile, and Verizon. The consortium is dedicated to ensuring that electronic payments based on NFC keep their secure element in the SIM. That's probably the SIM card, under the control of the network operator, not the handset manufacturer or bank card supplier, by promoting the technology and business models associated with it. Okay, now this is just one example. Most of the world is far ahead of us in this particular technology. In Japan, they have been using their phone to pay for things for several years now, and also around the world. We are just coming to this a little late, not because we didn't have the technology, but because they wanted to milk all the profits they could out of present technology before switching to the new. You've got to have something new in order to justify people getting a new handset, and so you want to make sure something new comes out every year, and you build a blueprint that you're going to follow in order to maximize profits. Well, anyway, you say, oh, none of them would ever do that. Well, I don't know. The people I'm hooked up with, the people that I'm paying for network time, it certainly seems like to me they're able to squeeze every profit dollar out of every single move that they make and every single move they want me to make. Nevertheless, we're talking today about the mark of the beast. Do you use numbers to buy and sell right now? Is your check direct deposited into your account? Is your car payment taken straight from your account? How about your house payment? Those are some of the questions we want to ask today. We'll be right back.
Endtime Ministries presents End of the Age, a 30-minute commercial-free TV show hosted by Irvin Baxter. Every Monday, End of the Age airs on the Church Channel at 9 p.m., Daystar at 10 p.m., and on TBN every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m., all Central Standard Time. On End of the Age, Irvin depicts how modern issues like an establishment of a one-world government, the religion of Islam, a coming World War III, and more line up so clearly with Bible prophecies written over 2,000 years ago. To get tomorrow's news today, be sure to tune into End of the Age every Monday on the Church Channel at 9 p.m., Daystar at 10 p.m., and on TBN every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m., all Central Standard Time. Visit endtime.com for more details or call us at 1-800-ENDTIME. That's 1-800-363-8463.
The Bible prophesies about 4 great spirits which control the actions of human beings, leaders, and even